Hi everyone, it's Fitz with the Daily Delivery. Hope you're well. I am wonderful. Beautiful Friday in the Flint Hills as I record this. And spring football is over, as I said on yesterday's Power Talk. But what's not over is the official settlement in the House versus NCAA case. And all it's hung up on now is this roster limit. And the judge demanded action, and Chris Klieman thinks that action will come next week. See, here's the problem. They still don't know what the roster limit is. So the natural question is, what are you expecting? What have you been told? And he was very clear on this. The group negotiating the settlement on behalf of the NCAA schools have not consulted the coaches, as far as he knows, at all about the roster limit. So here's what's happened. And this is disgusting if you ask me. Everyone believes they're going to 105. But now suddenly maybe there'll be 105, but all the players on the roster don't get cut. They get grandfathered in. And when they fall off the roll, you eventually end up at 105. In other words, Chris Klieman has told players, there's not room on this roster. We got to get to 105. And they went in the portal, and some of them have made other plans. And now maybe they never had to do that. Again, the NCAA sitting on its hands, not getting aggressive in addressing situations. But Coach Klieman pointed out it's worse than that, because some coaches made these cuts after last season so that they didn't have to put players through spring football who they had no intention of keeping. In other words, they lopped off a bunch of their roster that now suddenly didn't need to be cut, maybe. And I add the maybe because we still don't know exactly what the rules of this limit are. I think we all kind of wish they'd allow them to have a practice squad. You can take 10 to 15 guys maybe and say, look, you're not on a scholarship, you're still a walk-on. You're going to practice, not be able to suit up because you're not officially on the roster. You're a practice player, which I know sucks, but you are also our reserve, our taxi squad. When someone quits the team, leaves school, has a career-ending injury, and they're moved off the active roster, we've got these guys that we can move on, and then they can play. That apparently is not going to happen, but it sure makes a lot of sense. It's just a mess. I don't even think that's a good word anymore. This is a complete meltdown. And how this case, its slow settlement, and everything about it has upended college sports is awful, but what they've done to individuals, putting pressure on the coaches to know you're probably going to be at 105, you got to start cutting down. And then, oh yeah, we might grandfather them in. Well, I already told them, already crushed them, and they're probably already leaving. But I'll see if they want to come back. You know, that's just a good philosophy. You break up, and then you decide, I didn't really need that. I can tag them along longer and try to get back together. I fall for it, but I know you wouldn't fall for it. Yeah, and neither were most of these players. The only players that are going to stick around are going to be the ones who were off the team and stayed in school and said, I'm going to K-State. I'm a K-State student. Those are the ones that might come back. And that's about it, because this sucks. I feel like I get a lot of DDs that way nowadays.